Before we get started, we just want to announce for anyone interested in ordering Mr. Lindell's 4-CD set, go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. For those in the U.S., you can order either physical copies or the digital downloads. For those outside the U.S., you can order the digital downloads by going to metaphysicalarttheater.com.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, just fine, thank you. And I assume you're doing just fine, too.
I'm doing just fine. Thanks for asking. Today's talk, we're going to be talking about SP, or what many people call specific persons, how to attract, how to manifest your specific person. We know that Neville had manifested or attracted his second wife, Bill. Now, many people, because of that, they're in process of wanting to attract their specific person. Is that possible?
Yeah, actually, it really is. But it's not a physical attraction. It's a mental attraction. And if you don't have the mental attraction, then you're going strictly for the physical. And that's not really acceptable. That's the reason why people used to have a long dating period before getting married, because you want to actually know how the person functions under different situations, because that tells you an awful lot about them. I know it's making a judgment, but then again, too, that's what you're really looking for, a judgment of the person that you want. Don't you think so?
I do. And I like that you started it off that way, because it made me think about, many people, we see an actor like Brad Pitt or George Clooney or some other famous person, Denzel Washington, whomever. We see just the person's physical attributes and we say, I want that man, I want that woman, but we know nothing about the individual. Would you agree?
That's it. See, and believe me, you, at first, when you meet somebody, of course, they're going to be on their very, very best behavior over and above normal. So you're not getting a clear picture. I'm trying to think of exactly a certain position that I found myself in, where you're talking to someone and you're saying things that actually you're just, joking, kidding around, but they're taking it serious, and they're being upset by it. And that's what I'm saying. You have to get to know a person a little bit before you get married. I think that's a good idea, don't you?
I do. And as you're saying that, even in relationships, we have to be mindful, even in friendships, of really trying to discover who it is that we're dealing with, because the truth of the matter is we all bring our own individual baggage into relationships, whether it be a marriage relationship or just a platonic relationship. Would you agree?
Yes, that's it. And what you want to do before you start looking for the other person, you should look at yourself. Because what are you presenting the other person? You understand what I'm saying?
I do. I love it. Yeah, I do.
You have to find out where you are before you can understand where they are. And so if you're looking for someone for, a pal, that's one thing. But if you're looking for someone for a lifetime of investment, then you got to start investing the moment you see them. And you're watching what happens in your conversations, because they'll give you a lot of unaware messages that you can decipher for yourself, and you can know more about the person just in normal conversations if you're listening rather than thinking of what you're going to say when they finish saying. You know what I mean?
I do. And I like that you say that, because when I was out there, when I was dating and so forth, I used to go out to clubs and so forth, and I met a very attractive young lady. And as we continued to communicate and, we exchanged numbers, what I discovered, even that evening that I met her, she was kind of mean to other people. Now, we went to a drive-through restaurant to order some food, and even then, she was very mean to the person. And over a course of time, I thought to myself, if she's this mean to everyone else, eventually she's going to be mean to me.
They'll be mean to anybody.
That's correct. That is so correct. So people do show you who they are if we give it time to discover them. And if we're just focusing on the outward, there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that we miss when we're attempting to attract that specific person. Would you agree?
Yes. And first of all, like I said, what are you looking for? If you have that clearly in your mind, someone whom you could get along with, work with, day in and day out, that's what you're looking for. But you have to be aware of what is being said by the other person to make the decision that it's working for you or it's not working for you. Like you said, she was beautiful and all that, but the personality showed up and then you didn't want it anymore.
That's precisely it. And the thing was, I knew that it was just a matter of time, and it started revealing itself little by little. And I knew enough then that this was not going to work out. And many of us are so blinded by being attracted to this outward appearance of this person that we ignore these things until we find ourselves in the relationship, deep in the relationship, sometimes married to the individual. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, that's what the guy said, that the reason for divorces is marriage.
He's correct.
Actually, it is something you should think over, really, for a while. I mean, it's not instant. That they have a program on there. I see advertised about couples, and it's Married at First Sight. Come on, that's insanity to me as far as I hear it. But I mean, yeah, they have problems all the way down the line too. I hadn't heard of any really successful marriages in that. Maybe there are, but I didn't hear about it. We all want to have someone, but it is really wise to think about what you would be doing day by day, not those sudden moments of emotion and that, but what about your everyday living? Are you going to be able to handle this person's little quirks, which you have too, and not let you get upset about it? Because that's what happens. It all starts out with just little upsets, but the little upsets are reminded you one every now and then, and that upsets you, and it sets mindsets. And the mindsets, like I said, they operate automatically. Once you have it in mind, it operates instantly if a situation comes up that calls for that mindset. And what I'm speaking about is how you really think and feel about the other person. You don't want to just accept some of the things they say as, well, this spur of the moment, but it might be, but then again, it might not be. You know what I'm saying, don't you?
I do. And
yeah.
I appreciate that train of thought there, because we have to look at the complete person. Your spiritual beliefs may not line up. Your financial beliefs, as we talked offline about finances, you may be a spender and the other person may be one that likes saving money. Like I said, your spiritual beliefs. So these things have to be accounted for. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, we all have habits, and if habits are running your world, then you're not presenting a true person, are you?
No.
See, that's it. You're not really presenting yourself. You have to be concerned about how you're presenting yourself too. although you're inspecting them quite good, hopefully, but you have to think about how you think too. You know, this person, seeking another person, I found it's all within the self. You know, it's your world on the without is manufactured by what you're thinking and feeling in yourself. So you have to get yourself ready, because if you're really not ready with yourself, then you're not going to be ready for another person. Isn't it? You know what I mean?
I do. And that's what I want to really touch on. A lot of times we come from, let's say, abusive backgrounds. We come from alcoholic backgrounds. We come from narcissistic backgrounds, dealing with people who are narcissistic. And we never clear that stuff up out of us. We never take time to free ourselves up. And then we enter into a new relationship, taking those same ideologies, and we wonder why we keep repeating the same patterns. Would you agree?
That's it. That's exactly what it is. You're right. It's a pattern. And you made the pattern. So if you made the pattern, you can change the pattern. So what you want to do is go and sit in a silence and just run your own inner talking to yourself, suggesting to yourself, and see what it is you think of you. Because that's what you want to present to the person is what you really are. Because they're going to find out sooner or later down the line, just like you are going to find out the person down the line if you didn't do it in the first place, right?
I agree. And I like that you said what you think of you, because, see, that's for all of us who are creating. Only thing we're going to do is outpicture what we believe about ourselves. So if we're operating from a low self-image and we meet this ideal partner, this specific person, and we still begin to reflect that low self-image, they're going to begin to respond to us accordingly. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They're looking at you too. And what they'll see is they'll see what you think of you, because you don't realize you're giving yourself away all the time, but it's just not noticed by most people. But there are people who can pick up on your signs of expression, because I know when I'm standing before an audience, I can tell who's understanding and who isn't just by looking at the expressions on their faces. You know what I'm talking?
I do. You know? I do. When I've been in speaking to a group of people, you can see those who catch it right away. And you can see that those who it goes right over their head. So then, of course, you try to go a little deeper for those who did not catch it. Would you agree?
Yes, that's it. It was the same with me. I wondered what I was actually getting and what I wasn't getting, and musing over it all over and over. But you actually do come to conclusions, and then all you have to do is test them. You see, you can listen to these talks and you can say, well, I believe that. Well, yeah, I believe that. But is that your normal thinking? I mean, is that what you're actually expecting to experience? Or are you just musing with whatever was been said? Attitude. If you know your attitudes, you can quickly see what other people's attitudes are in a flash. But you'll want to excuse them at first. But then if it continues, then you know it's not something you want to be involved in. You think so?
I do. And I want to give a quick story. Years ago, I was attending a particular church, and so there was a group of us that continuously got together. And there was a beautiful lady in there that she had just gotten out of her marriage because her husband was very, very abusive. And she said, why would God allow me to get into this abusive relationship? And I told her, God showed you some things before you entered into that relationship that you chose to ignore. And she reflected back and she said, she thought it was cute when he would show these fits of jealousy when they were just dating, but she just thought it was so cute. So the whole point is God will show you through the other person who that person is. And the key is believing who the person is that they show you that they are. Would you agree?
Actually, God gave you choose this day. And you are choosing, but are you choosing wisely? You see, it's easy to make a choice in the spur of the moment when you're excited about something or someone. But if you think about it down the line, you might change your opinion. And that's what it is. It is you're operating on opinion. All you have to do is start dreading. And you're using the power to dread. Whatever it is that upsets you, that's what you're feeding if you're thinking about it. In other words, people run off little scenarios about all the things that happened in the past and run them over and over. What is the sense of that? If you didn't enjoy it the first time, why would you think you'd enjoy it again running it over and over? And if you are running it over and over, then you're getting something out of it or you drop it. Would you say?
I would. You say that. It made me think about another scenario. When I was at a church outing and I met this very attractive young lady. And in meeting her, we started talking. And the only thing she talked about was her ex and how horrible he was. So we agreed to go on this date. And again, when we got together on this date, the only thing she talked about how horrible her ex was and how horrible men were. And I said to myself, this is probably not going to be a healthy relationship. And so I told her later on that I did not think that it would be a good fit and we didn't pursue it any longer. And she said, well, I didn't give her a chance. I said, but the thing is, only thing you talked about was how horrible men were. So the only thing that I can be for you is a horrible man. So as we're talking about attracting your specific person, you said earlier, first and foremost, you have to become the person you want to attract. Is that correct?
That's right. Because, I thought I knew me. But when I started investigating me, I found that I didn't really know much about me at all.
You were saying you didn't always know your own thinking.
Yes, that's right. Most people don't. They're thinking all the time, but they are not conscious of what they're thinking all the time. So then life seems to be a surprise to them for the most part, but yet you're actually planning out your everydayness through your conversations with yourself. So if you're not listening to that, then you're probably not listening to anyone else you're talking to either, right?
I agree. And I like that you made that point because a lot of times ego, like we've often said, is running the show. So you keep manifesting, let's say, bad, negative, horrible relationships, but you're not listening to your own self-talk or validating your own worth. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. How many times have you said something and said, oh, I wish I hadn't have said that? See, you're not actually thinking feelingly about what you're talking about. And so it just, look, first of all, there's only God. That's something you want to keep in mind and bring up quite often because that really keeps you on track thinking. There is only God. All you have to do is just be still and know that I'm God. If you know that, then the rest of it is all filled in for you effortlessly. And it is effortlessly because the one you're talking to is love himself. That's it. He's all love. He said yes to you even before you ask. And all the help you need is nearer than hands and feet. And looking at relationships, all the help you need is nearer than hands and feet. All you have to do is go into silence and think about a relationship that you want, and then see how the relationships fit what you say you want. I mean, that's the way you look at it, isn't it?
It is. And you said earlier, you said that often people go into relationships trying to change others when in fact they should be working on changing themselves. Would you agree?
That's it. Look, the only thing that needs to be changed in your world is you. That's all. Now you have 2 points. You can take what Scripture said that is actually beneficial for you, or you can listen to all the people around you, your whole environment. But then, you see, it's not your idea, it's the outside idea. If you're looking on the without to solve your problems, that's a problem, because it is what you're doing within yourself, what you're thinking, feelingly in yourself, because feeling is the secret. That is emotion, movement out from into your world of experiencing. And all you have to do is just watch your own inner conversations and agree or disagree and then act accordingly. Isn't that right?
That is right. And you said, don't look to the world without to solve your problems. So that even means that the specific person should be an enhancement to your life, but they shouldn't be that added to your life to make you happy. Happiness should be something that we bring to the party. Would you agree?
That's right. If you're not happy, then get happy first. Wouldn't you say?
I would say. And whatever it is that you're looking for in that other person, make sure that you're bringing it to the relationship. Otherwise, it's not going to be there, because there's always going to be that pull. Even if they are happy, but you're miserable, there's going to be very little that they can do to make you happy. Would you agree?
Absolutely. They'll only frustrate you.
It's true.
Because, look, it's as you think you are. Not how the other person thinks, but how you think you are. Would you like to be with you?
Great question. And many of us have to ask that. And I know DeCarlo. DeCarlo is not a great fit for every person. It takes a special person to tolerate my idiosyncrasies.
That's right. And you have to be willing to do so and accept so. Like, attitudes, that's what it's all about, your attitudes. Attitude awareness and imaginational control. And I say imaginational control because, look at it this way, everything on the without is imagined first, then it's produced. And subconscious mind has been given the job to make your world as you think you are. If you don't have your thinking straight, that you enjoy your world without having another person, if you're not enjoying your world and you attract another person, then it's not going to work. If you're happy and they're happy, that would make you doubly happy together, wouldn't it? Otherwise, and there's no otherwise to that. It either works or it doesn't. And that's all there is to say about that.
It is true, because many people are finding from relationship to relationship that it's not working. But very rare do we take a look within and say, what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I'm thinking? What is it that I'm being? I had a friend who had been married 5 times, and he said, well, DeCarlo, after you get married, they change. I said, but Calvin, you had 5 times to get this right. And even the 6th time when he got married, because we were working together when he got married the 6th time, it didn't work. So the question is, what is it in him that's attracting to him those types of relationships?
Well, that's it. That's what it is. You know, remember, it's always as you think you are. You understand? Do you know what you are? Do you know what you're thinking? Because thinking makes it so. And your world is that you're experiencing is your own self-talk manifested in your world. It's as simple as that. What are you talking to yourself about? You know, you can kill a relationship that's perfect just by thinking negative about yourself, because then you destroy yourself to the other person. And you may not even know you're doing so until they get angry at you or something and say something that they didn't want to say too. But it's a work upon. It's always a work. You got to work upon it by understanding what you're thinking feelingly about, not what they're thinking. Because you'll see it, you'll know, you'll feel it. Even if they don't say it, you'll feel it. And so will they feel what you're thinking and feeling after you get to know each other a little bit. And then sometimes that's what changes a relationship, really. Don't you think?
I do. And I like that you said earlier, you said that you could kill a perfect relationship by what it is that you're giving your attention to. And I want to give an example of the person that says that, people always cheat on me. So if that's the mindset that you're bringing into the relationship, even if the person that you're dealing with at the moment is faithful, you're going to be looking for signs of infidelity. Would you agree?
That's right. And then when it happens, you'll say, well, I knew that. Yeah, you did. And you put it forward and it took hold. Because as you think you are, that's it. You are. You're doing it. You're being it. They themselves are makers of themselves. So you're making yourself by what you're thinking and feeling every moment, because it's an ongoing drama. And you're being hypnotized, mesmerized by what's going on around you too much, because you're not thinking about what's going on within you. And that is your world of experiencing what's going on the within, right?
Absolutely. And I want to add this, it's like there's people out there that are abusers, and a person that knows themselves and knows that that's not acceptable, the first time they encounter it, they let that person go. Whereas the other person that does not know themselves or who they've been created to be, they'll say, oh, I'll forgive them. And then, of course, the abuse continues and it magnifies. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, really. It does. There's no two ways about it. The idea is that just leave it. Just leave. That's all you have to do is just leave, because it'll only get worse and worse. It won't get better, because they have to change their mind, and that's not what's happening. Asking for what you want gets you more of wanting, so your prayer is answered. So, in other words, when you're asking, you're thinking feelingly, how? Negatively or positively? Because it's an ongoing drama. There's no place to stop. You're thinking feelingly about something. What is it that you're thinking feelingly about? I mean, just ask yourself, and then sit down and get the answer for yourself, because it's always up to you. What are you looking for? Because that's what's looking for you.
We say that we love people. We say that I'm so in love with this person. The second you and this person part ways, if you're abusive, then you have to question, did you really love that person? Because love seeks the person's best interest, even if that means separating. You don't separate and all of a sudden get violent with the person, or you have to question the motive of love. Love is continuous. So even if you realize that you have to go two separate ways, you still want to love that person. You still want to see what's best in that person's best interest. Would you agree?
Yes. In other words, you have to ask, am I going to be adding to her?
Thank you.
That's it. What are you offering to her before you wonder what she's going to offer to you? Because that's what love is. You see, if you're taking on a person, it's full time. It's a marriage, and you're told to act like it's a marriage, but we don't always do that, and we get angry and we say things we don't mean to say, and then it's a sore spot forever. So it's what you think ahead of what you're doing that matters, right?
It is. And I like that you said, am I going to be adding to this person? And I often say, people do 4 things in our lives, and I call it do the math. They either multiply us, they add to us, they take from us, or they basically divide us. And you got to ask yourself, when you're in a relationship, am I making this person's life better?